So I'm doing this video. So today I was trying to study, because I have to study. I just started school and I have to study. So my daughter was, next to me. She had a tablet on. She was watching the video. I asked her to turn it down. She turned it down. And then about 2 minutes later, I was like, you know what, listen, I need quiet. I need quiet. Can you just go in the living room? So she went into the living room. All of a sudden, within a minute, music started blasting from the neighbors. Maybe, I don't know if it's upstairs or what have you, right? But all of a sudden now, music starts blasting for what? Almost 3 hours.
How far you've gone, or
Okay.
how fast you're going, or how long it might take you
Okay.
to get
This is
someplace.
this
So
is
first I have, if Shantanu was able.
as you guys are hearing is the video I was trying to play. So anyway, so for almost 3 hours, music's playing really really loud, hard for me to study. I couldn't study, couldn't concentrate on nothing. So I called the kid's mom, and I was telling her, I said, listen, I don't know, what I'm going to do, because I knew that, once I started school, that this was going to be another thing that they're going to try to, hamper me with, or, they tried to prevent it, but it didn't work because I registered for school. Now, even today, earlier today, I had a class on, the class I had today was, I'll tell you guys, it was technical drawing, okay? And the entire class, almost the entire class, I would say 95% of the class was targeting me, including the professor, okay? Then on top of that, she was reviewing the homework and we had to use AutoCAD. None of the AutoCAD, none of the computers that had AutoCAD on it was working. Okay, and there was a reason for that. Okay, and the reason for that was because using the AutoCAD software to do the homework is much easier. Okay, I just have to come back. I was making some tea. Yeah, so the AutoCAD software wasn't working, so now the professor had to show us how to do the homework, by hand. And this was a perfect opportunity. And the reason why they did this, okay, is what is called crowding. Because when you are around the target, if the perps are around the targets, the TIs, what they do is that they crowd them. So it's like a whole bunch of people around, okay? Then they'll start, touching their ears, pinching their nose, sticking their tongue out at you, doing hand signals, and they were feeding off of each other. And I'm trying to concentrate, all this is going on, but it's very hard to concentrate when this is going on around you and this is being done to you. Okay. So the purpose was to bombard me with subliminals, right? So I would not pay attention to what the professor was doing so that I couldn't do the homework. Okay. So I always say, and I say this a lot on my videos, that technology, even though they're using technology against us, we can use technology to help us, like by exposing what's going on, by showing people exactly what's going on. Also, when the professor was, doing the examples and showing, at the end, I just kind of like took a picture of it so that way I can pull up on my phone, I can see, what she did, okay? And then after that, right, so that class was over, left the classroom, you took the elevator down, everybody rushed out before me, right? And the reason being is that they were instructed to go outside, so when I exit out the classroom, they would target me. And then their faces changed, because as they were targeting me, I was targeting them back too. I was doing hand signals to them back too, because I'm like, you know what? If you're going to try to make me break my concentration, I'm going to do the same to you too. Okay, so I started doing the hand signals. I started sticking my fingers in my ears, touching my nose, doing all that stuff, and I can tell when I was doing it, it affected them because they were doing other things back to me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, fine. This is how it's going to be in this classroom. fine. This is how it's going to be. You want to target me? I'm going to target the shit out of you too. Okay, I don't care who you are, including the professor. Okay, so if you want to give me a failing grade, I'm gonna do my best, work my butt off, to learn and understand this stuff. But it's gonna be hard. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge. Okay, because again, I'm not gonna let these people stop me from trying to better myself or trying to get a better education. All right, they have for far too long. They have affected me in a very negative way. Okay, and they have basically take away a lot of my abilities, a lot of my skills, because of the targeting that they've done. All right, and over the years, researching, studying, learn about psychology, learn about psychological tactics, psychological programming, and helping to get myself into this position that I'm at now, where I feel like I can go back to school, study hard, with the help of these natural supplements that I'm taking for memory and for energy and stuff like that, and for focus, and then again take some of the focus away from these perks. But nope, they right into the classroom, and this is every class I've had so far. They've been targeting me, and on top of that, the police sirens outside the school. But I was like, okay, you know what? Hey, it's going to affect the other students too. So if you guys want to do that, that's fine. Because you know what? I know it's not only affecting me, it's affecting them also. Right? So that's it. And that's fine. So today I had to take, after the class, I had called Pamela, because she had called me to remind me that the kid's dentist appointment. Okay? And again, this is the time when they use her to target me. So, after she finished saying what she said, she was like, bah, really stern and really like threatening. Okay. So I had to bring her book for her that she has information in. So I stopped by her house, got the book, and, came home, took a nap because, it was mentally exhausting. Got up again, like I said, she had called me about the kid's appointment, and then when she said bye in a very threatening way. So then I was like, let me call. So on my way, Lisa, please go in the living room. I'm doing a video. Thank you. So I called her when I was downstairs from her job, because she works at Methodist, right? She's the coordinator for the pulmonary department. So I told her, I said, listen, I'm outside. I was like, okay, come outside. She's like, I can see you because, I'm downstairs. I can see you by the window, right? Because again, there is the thing that they like to claim that they win, whatever, because, whatever game that they're playing, what have you, right? So this time, instead of, she didn't say bye sternly, she said it very softly, and she said it more than once. She was like, bye. And, so she came out, right? She came out, and she's like talking to the kids, but she's in the street, right? And then, as I roll down the window, the passenger side window, she comes and she sticks her head in, and I'm like, why are you standing out in the street like that? Why don't you come over to the other side where it's safer? Why are you, and why are you standing in the street like that? I was like, So then she came over and she wanted to give me a kiss. At that time, I was kind of like annoyed. So I was like, I don't want a kiss. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? So then, took the kids to the dentist appointment. Of course, they start targeting me there too. Okay, at the dentist. And after the kids got their teeth clean, drove home, and on our way home, right? Because you guys see the video before that, there was a sheriff car, right? And I spotted the sheriff car before I got onto the parkway, and it was like about maybe a good 2 or 3 cars behind me, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going, there's no way that I said to myself, let me see if he's going to follow me. So I went over to the far right lane, to almost the far right lane, like the second to the far right? And he followed me right behind me, and I was like, okay. So he was following me for a good while before I started recording the video that I recorded, prior to, this one. And I was like, okay, let me see if he's going to follow me home. But as I explained, I was doing the video when it got to my the street that I'm supposed to turn on, so I can get to my house. Immediately, right? Immediately, a SUV pulled out in front of me, and of course, talk about the how to use the number 32. Okay, and that vehicle was it had a temporary plate, Texas plate, and I explained that again with the number 32 in it. But the thing is that he came into the turning lane to make the left, but he didn't turn left, right? But the thing is that he just wanted to get in front of me so I can see the number 32, and then he just drove, straight, right? So he didn't turn. And so again, this is the thing that is happening, being heavily targeted. Even when I went to pick her up and the kids from the airport, right? And I have to upload that video, okay? As I was driving on the way there, I see this police car parked up on the service lane, and I said to myself, I said, watch as I approach, he's going to pull out, right? And either get in front of me or get behind me. And sure enough, as I was driving, I got close to him, turns on his lights and pull out in front of me, right? I think he was making a U-turn or something like that. It looked like he was making a U-turn. But again, this is what has been happening. And like I said, every time I talk to Pamela on the phone, okay, I hear police sirens afterwards. Or every time she calls me, I hear police sirens afterwards. So they are surveilling me, listening to my phone conversations, okay, on top of that, right? And it's ridiculous. And I think they're using her. I know they're using her. And no matter how she may try to deny it or what have you, I'm beginning to think that she has full knowledge of what's being done to me, and she's participating in this. And I'm thinking, well, it's the technology, right? But at this point in stage, I'm like, no, it's not. And this is what they'll do too, especially when they use somebody that's close to you to target you, right? So they're going to be nice to you. They're going to be, sometimes they're going to be nice to you, right? But they're not being nice to you because they're being nice to you because they want to be nice to you. They're doing it because for a reason. They're doing it so that they can say, well, look, I'm not targeting you, I'm nice to you, right? That's how narcissistic people behave, right? So, I have to find a way to really, even though we're not together, right? But because of the kids and stuff like that, and the fact that, and I've told her months and months ago to get a babysitter. Okay, I've told her this. I said, get a babysitter for the kids. But she doesn't want to do that because she says that she doesn't have the money to do it, which is a lie. And I know it's a lie. Because if you're buying $600, $700 Gucci belt and, $500 Gucci shades, right? You can definitely afford to get a babysitter. Right, and she's always shopping, always buying clothes and stuff, shoes and stuff online. So she can definitely. But the fact that I watch the kids, I take care of the kids, that's money she don't have to spend on a babysitter. That's because to get a babysitter in the afternoon for these two kids, what I'm saying, until she comes home from work, whatever time that is, right? You're talking about probably just for these two kids per week, minimum $500. Okay, minimum. Okay, and so she doesn't want to, she would rather spend that money buying material things as opposed to getting a babysitter for the kids. Because I told her, I said, we're not together, and sometimes she comes home and she's like, I'm so sleepy. Can you stay for hour or two and then go home? And then she ends up falling asleep, not waking up. So I have to end up staying with the kids, put them to bed, do all of that stuff. Sometimes I'm tired, and sometimes it's so late that if I have to drive home, I take the bus home. If the car's parked on the wrong side of the street, I have to drive home. And when I get home by 11 o'clock, what have you, I don't get parking until, almost 1 o'clock. Sometimes even after 1, right? And if it's not on the right side on my block, then that means I have to get up early in the morning to go outside to get parked, which means that I'm lacking sleep. I severely lack sleep. And then when my targeting happens, right? And then, I accuse her of targeting me. She wants to flip out. She wants to act like, I'm not targeting you and why you always, and I'm getting upset and crying, all this stuff. And I'm like, you're not listening to me. You are not listening to me. I told you what's being done to me, but you act like if you, like I didn't tell you. You act like if you don't know. You act like if you don't see the effect of what's happening to me. And then she totally ignores it. And then she tells me one time, I don't believe you. I said, so after all of this stuff, all the arguments you've been having about my targeting, we get to the point where you're like, well, I'm tired of this because you're always accusing me of targeting and all this stuff and such and such. Well, if you listen to me from the beginning, right? If you really care, you say you love me. If you listen to me from the beginning, and when I say this, what you're doing, right, is, affecting me. It's nothing big. It's just the hand signals that she was doing. Walking, in front of me. Putting her hands behind her back with the palm fixation drill, which I've talked about in many of my videos. Always like, touching herself. It's just weird the way, what I'm saying, like nobody walks around touching their legs, their stomach, their hands. Come on. Unless some your arms are scratching you or your legs are scratching you, but no, who walks around with their hands right on their thigh, right, walking back and forth? Your natural position for your hands to be is at your side, with your palms turned in. That's the natural, not your arms turned behind you. Okay, so this is what like I keep telling her. I said, such, and she was like, well, I don't, it's not, I'm not doing anything, whatever. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's the technology. You know what I'm saying? But again, when you're being attacked outside psychologically, ferociously, and you go in the house with your significant or even family members, and they start doing the same thing, it affects you. Right? And so, that caused a lot of issue between me and her. But the stuff that I've uncovered, okay, that, make me realize that she's been compromised, okay? And I've talked about Zertzuzeng, in which the Stasi, what they would do is get they'll get the person's wife or husband or friend or even family members, right, to inform on them. And I'm like, what is it about me that you need to inform them? Okay, I wasn't working. I'm on disability. I pick up the kids from school, come back home when the kids are with me for the weekend. We may go out somewhat. So what am I doing that I need to be surveilled? And this is the thing that I want people to understand. Okay, so when I show you these videos with these police officers, okay, you cannot tell me that I'm not being surveilled, right? That is not a form of intimidation. Okay, because I have too many videos to show otherwise. So why are people continue to ignore it? Why are people continue to act like they don't see it? Why? You know what I'm saying? Is everybody so, the majority of people who participate in my targeting, they're a bunch of criminals, period. That's it. And because those in the authority, just as the Zetsu zone, right, where you have the secret police, and America has its own secret police. So if people don't think that they do, yes, they do. America has its own, the police force, they have their black site. And the black site is a CIA term. It's a site that is unknown, in which they torture people. Okay, we've known police department in Chicago had one. You don't think the police department in New York City have one too? Or the police department in Los Angeles have one? Are you guys that dense to think that they don't have a black site, right? Come on. Particularly when we know that the CIA had infiltrated the state and local police department in major cities during the 1980s. And the reason why they did that is because they were running the drug trade. Okay, particularly in the black community. And these drug dealers who were trying to make a living, some of them were being flashy and all that. They think that they were, first of all, the CIA and the FBI knew who they were from the get-go. And they allowed them to accumulate the amount of wealth in order to then come in, bust them, right? And then take that money, right, to buy guns from Iran so they could ship it to Nicaragua. In the Iran-Contra scandal that came out in the 80s with Ronald Reagan. So don't act as if the CIA hasn't been embedded in the state and local police department in major cities across America. If you look out at the psychological tactics that these police officers use, right, in basically manipulating innocent people into confessing to crimes that they didn't commit, that alone should let you guys know. But the problem is people don't study and people don't know history. People do not know history, they don't study. And even when they know history, they have a very short memory. Okay? Now, I may suffer short-term memory loss, right? But I always go back to the source of information and reread it, restudy it for months and months and months and months, right? Until it's retained in my mind. Okay? But a lot of you guys out there don't have that problem. But you still forget. You still forget. Right? So when I'm being followed home today by a sheriff car, police car, and I'm wondering also if it's because because Pam had told me last night that she was going out with her ex, right? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I said I appreciate you telling me, and such. But again, they listen. The perception that they want to give of me, probably say, well, he's jealous and he no. First of all, well, look, when you love somebody and yeah, of course you're gonna get jealous, right? That's a natural human response. All right. So don't talk about, or people say, oh, let go of jealousy, whatever. Jealousy is a natural human response. There's no way you can let it go. Now, you can be over jealous, then that's a problem. Okay. But no one is not jealous. It's particularly when it comes to loving someone, right? But the perception they want to give is that I might be some, because every time you get into an argument, I've said this before, and I'm even showing this, that when I go to Pam's house, there's always a heavy police presence. Or if we get into an argument and I leave and I'm on my way home, there's always a police presence, right? And like I said, recently, when she's been calling me, I've been calling her. Immediately after, I'm hearing police sirens. Okay? So this is what they're doing. And then on top of the information that I found, because how she's been acting recently in the past couple months, right? That's what I know. And listen, like I said, these police officers, a lot of them are skilled in psychological manipulation, in brainwashing techniques, because again, they learned it from the CIA, right? So when, she has a number in her phone book, and I find out that, that person, who doesn't have a social media, but his relatives do, right? And then his relatives are police officers or retired police officers. Okay. But then this person don't have a profile with their number. And I'm like, okay, is he some type of undercover, and then also a lot of ex DEA agents or the Drug Enforcement Task Force within the police department, those officers, when they retire, they basically get jobs within the pharmaceutical companies. They become, pharmaceutical reps, right? So they go to hospitals for the drugs, because they know about the drugs, right? That was their job, right? Is knowing about drugs. Okay. So he could be one of the reps that I remember she went out to dinner one night, and one of the reps dropped her home. And I said to her, why are you taking ride home from strangers? And she was like, well, because, he didn't want me to spend money in an Uber. I'm like, why would the rep concern himself about you spending money with the Uber? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, okay. So I was like, really? And she was like, oh, don't worry about it. He's married. He's in his 50s with a teenage daughter or what have you. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. The fact, listen, I'm like, listen, come on. I gotta have to tell her. I said, you cannot be accepting rides from strangers. I don't care if, they're a rep that comes to your job to, to sell the hospital drugs or what have you, or, pharmaceuticals, what have you. You know what I'm saying? You got to stop that. You're a grown woman. You have 2 children. You can't be jumping into anybody's car. You So but then she's like, oh, I'm controlling. I'm like, I'm not controlling. You go. When have I stopped you from going out? When you go out with your male friends, I don't stop you. All I just ask is just for you to be respectful and be courteous. You know what I'm saying? That's all. And when you're on your way home, I said just give me a call. Let me know you're on your way home. That's it. And I think that's reasonable. When you've been with somebody for 11 years, you want to make sure that they're safe on. You know what I'm saying? So that was it, right? But this is how these people, it's perception. They want to give false perception of who you are. Okay, so they do things, they manipulate things. They'll send people to your significant other, to your kids, or to your family members, what have you, and they will manipulate those people, right? Whether doing it through hypnosis, right? Using NLP, this is what they do. Dark NLP, this is what they do, right? So this is what happened to me today, right? So again, being targeted heavily in the class, the crowding, the whole skit, with the teacher and everything like that, the professor with the students all crowding around and targeting me to have me lose concentration and stuff like that. This is what's been happening, right? So I just gotta keep documenting it. I mean, I'm at my house, so I don't have access to a webcam as in her house, because again, my son's computer has a webcam and a mic, and so I don't have that. Oh, one more thing. So I have a computer in my bedroom, okay, and immediately when I started school, before that, my computer was fine. Okay. The minute I started school, I start my computer up, get on the internet. It is slow. Now, I have a program called speed test, right? Which excuse me, which tests your internet speed. So when I run speed tests, I'm getting over 100 megabytes per second on the download, and over 35 megabytes per second on the upload, which is the speed that I pay for, right? All of a sudden I start school, and it takes, right now I'm trying to load one of the website that I go to, Khan Academy, and for the past 5-10 minutes, okay, it's been trying to load. But again, this is what they do, right? Because they don't want me to go to school, want me better than myself. Like I said, they attempted to try to prevent me from registering, but I did. Okay, and then they retaliated, and this is one of the forms of trying to hamper me from learning, right? And it's ridiculous, but this is what's happening. Okay, and people have to know, people have to understand that this is what they do. Okay, these people are criminals, all right, and they're within the police department, and they're within the religious organizations who are members of the police department and engaging in this. Okay? Coercive persuasion, Zetsuzon, right? Dark NLP, illegal microchipping, okay? The use of microwave technology for mind control. This is what's happening. Okay? Because, like I said, I told my daughter, hey, I can't concentrate, I need quietness. They started blasting music. I was speaking on the phone with her mother, and what do you think happened? I was telling her what happened. I said, I've been trying to study for the past 3 hours, all this noise. She was like, I'll call you back. Within a minute later, they stopped playing music. They haven't played music since. So how is it that they can, affect people that fast? It's through microwave technology. For mind control.